Eddie wants a striker, we want a striker, but are we going to get a striker? Welcome back to another video on the channel, Newcastle fans. If you are new to Black and White Banter and you've just stumbled across us and you like my opinion, make sure you drop down, give us a like, give us a subscribe. You'll get a notification every single time a video gets posted, and get us on Facebook and Instagram as well. So the hot topic at the moment is Newcastle's next transfer move. We've already done some good business. Botman's obviously come through the door. Matt Targett's come through the door. Nick Pope, the goalkeeper's come through the door. And our squad is looking a lot more healthy. A couple of players have gone out. But it's no secret that Eddie Howe is looking to add to the squad. And one position he's desperate to add to is our striking options. Now, Craig Hope, who works for the Daily Mail, has reported today that Newcastle are maybe going to take a risk on Callum Wilson's fitness because the deal for Hugo Ekitike in France has fell through because he's joined PSG. So, unless you've been living under a brick, you will know that we've been chasing the young French forward for, well, since January. He almost joined us on deadline day at the start of the year. He changed his mind. He didn't think it was right for him during the season. He stalled and stalled and stalled this summer. I think we've actually offered more than what PSG have. PSG are only taking him on a loan. Is he going to get any game time at PSG? He's got Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, all these players to compete with. He might just go back to Reims next summer if it doesn't work out. So it's a bit of a funny one, but there are a lot of people bashing him on social media, which you've got to remember he's French. PSG are one of the biggest teams in France. They played in the Champions League. He could be a PSG fan for all we know. It's not bad of him to not want to come to Newcastle when he's been offered a deal for the best team in his native country. So, you know, it's all well and good. We think that every player wants to sign for Newcastle, but you cannot knock the kid for wanting to go to PSG. But that one's dead in the water now. Now, for me, I think we do need a striker. And I think if we are going to rely on Callum Wilson, who, by the way, I think is only second on his day when fully fit. If he stayed fit season upon season, there's only Harry Kane for me who's a better all-round striker. I think Callum, and I know that's going to sound like a biased and very big statement, but he's always on the shoulder, good turn of pace, knows where the goal is. Absolutely brilliant striker on his day. And we saw that when he came back. His goal against, well, his almost goal against Arsenal. I think it was an own goal in the end. But just his general play, how he gave us that new dimension that we'd missed with Chris Wood in the team when he was injured. But the lad is made of glass, and we cannot deny that. And I don't see how anything is going to change this season upon previous years. I would love nothing more than to see a Callum Wilson stay fit all year, banging, I would guess, anywhere from 18 to 22 goals in the season and be all singing and dancing. Absolute hero of every Newcastle fan. But he's made of glass. And again, season upon season, he's been proved to have injury problems. And if you look at the track record and the history of players who've had similar issues, it does reoccur time after time after time. When you sustain an injury, that muscle weakens to a degree, and it comes back with a vengeance again and again and again. I haven't read about Callum Wilson doing anything different to try and avoid the issues. I'm sure the medical team at Newcastle are. But if we are going to rely on that player, that for me is a risk. And I say that because Chris Wood, as much as he helped us when he came in January from Burnley, for that quite a big price tag, he's totally different. And he's a very static player. He's not on the shoulder like Wilson is. He slows us down a little bit. He's more about link-up play, which I think he's fantastic at, by the way. His aerial ability, his aerial wins, his link-up to flick on to attacking players running beneath him is brilliant, and I noticed that. But in terms of a fox in the box like Callum Wilson is, he doesn't have that to his game. He needs chances on a plate for him to a degree because he's not one of them players who creates his own chances. Brilliant in the air, so we would certainly need to get more balls in. But he, for me, is not the answer if Callum Wilson was, touch wood, if he was to get injured, that's not the answer for me. Now, we've looked at Ekitike, young player, one for the future, but possibly a bright spark for now. Eddie Howe's come out and said how much he thought of him. That one's gone. We've looked at Brozier, who was on loan at Southampton from Chelsea last season. Now he looks like he might be going to West Ham, so that one looks dead in the water because he would have been a nice loan option. Strikers in Europe, it's a difficult position unless any striker who's maybe lightening up the German league or the French league or the Italian league, maybe coming through, a bit of an unheard of player, their price tag skyrockets just because of their position and what they bring in terms of scoring goals. So for us to bring in a quality option under Callum Wilson now is going to cost big money. Would that big money be better spent off on maybe a winger or another midfielder? In my opinion, yes. But that's not to say that I still feel like we need a backup option. Dwight Gale's definitely out the door. I don't know where to, but probably it's a championship team by the end of this window. So that leaves us with with Callum Wilson and Chris Wood as our two options. And he's so opposite that I don't like the dynamic of us having to change how we play when Chris Wood comes in. Because if we are setting up to play a certain way, overpacking the box with midfielders, which I've already seen in the friendly game against Munich on Friday, that's how we want to play. And I think it's going to be quite a fast-paced style of play that Eddie Howe wants to bring in, playing it out from the back, passing it forward, getting forward in large numbers midfield-wise. Chris Wood is suited to someone that's got balls pinging in the box constantly, and I just don't know whether that's us, and I don't know whether that's why he's ever going to flourish goals-wise. Yes, his link-up play will always help us, but goals-wise, I don't think he will. So you're digging deep, and I've seen the article from Craig Hope about us taking this risk on Callum Wilson staying fit, and it worries me a little bit, because I want to see us have the best season we can possibly have, and in my opinion, we need another striking option. Even if it's someone who maybe isn't incredible, a loan deal maybe. I think Brozier would have been fantastic, but like I say, we've been pipped to that one. The Hugo saga was going on and off. We didn't know whether that one was going to happen. That one's not now. So I'm concerned, and I think we still need to make it a priority. But if the money is big, as I said, I think I would rather see that money spent on a right midfielder, because I think Alan St-Maximin is going to start the season. And I think Eddie Howe still sees that right-hand side of our midfield as a weak point of our team. And I do as well. I think you've got Trippier on the right-hand side, bombing back and forth, who's fantastic, one of the best in the world. He needs some quality in front of him. And I don't think Almiron gives it. I don't think Fraser gives it. And I think that's why we were linked so heavily with Diaby. But that one looks maybe dead in the water now as well because of the price tag. If you are new to Black and White Banter, and you're watching this video now, get in the comments, let me know. A big question from me: who do you want to see in as a striker? Do you think we can get by with just Callum Wilson, or do you think that's a bit of a risk? That's my big question to you. And if you are new to Black and White Banter Newcastle fans, as I said, give us a like, give us a subscribe, get us on Facebook and Instagram. And this window's changing all the time. We've got another friendly game coming up on Monday, so I've got no doubts I'll see you on the next video. How are the lads? Oh,